Welcome, new wavy Euro trashy assassins, to Geek Salad's retro movie review from the Geek Salad podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And tonight we are kicking off Dalton Mania, where we are covering the first of Timothy Dalton's 2 James Bond outings. Normally the format is that me and Mike both pick a favorite Bond movie from that actor, and then a least favorite. Kind of like with George Lazenby, there really wasn't any way to kind of break up how to do that. So we're just reviewing them both. I've watched both of them. You've watched this
And
one,
about
The Living
half
Daylights. You've watched Living Daylights, and you're about halfway through License to Kill. So we can kind of talk a little bit about where we feel this one hits. We can do that throughout this. So let's talk a little bit about The Living Daylights. First off, let's talk about Dalton.
I don't mind him at all. Actually, I think he's significantly a step up from Roger Moore. That's for sure.
I agree with that. I feel like the curse of him only having the 2 movies kind of instantly put him into that he's a bad Bond.
Yeah.
I know you'll disagree with me on this, but I feel the same way about George Lazenby. George Lazenby does not get a lot of the respect he deserves because he only did the 1.
I got nothing against George Lazenby as Bond. For me, the movie was just kind of
right. And if he had the opportunity to make another one or a couple of them and save us from Diamonds Are Forever.
Holy.
Yeah. So, I think that overall, from everything I've heard, he is the close. I've never read any of the Fleming novels.
No.
I feel like he is the closest to what, and this is what I've heard. I've heard that he is the closest to what Ian Fleming had kind of envisioned his super spy to be.
That makes sense. I've always said that for me, Bond has to have the 2 kind of personality traits. He has to be a super spy, and he has to be a ladies' man.
Yeah.
Roger Moore was way more ladies' man, not nearly enough super spy. Connery, I thought, was a nice balance of both. Lazenby, yeah, sure. Dalton, I think, is way more of a super spy than he is a lazy man.
Yeah.
He's got some charm to him, but he really does not do much with the ladies.
And that was actually by design.
Makes sense.
If you'll recall, the mid to late 80s were the era of safe sex. So who better to exemplify that than 007 James Bond?
Sure.
In this movie, The Living Daylights, 2 women total. One is at the absolute beginning.
Yeah.
And then, later on with Mariam Diabo's Cara.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Another thing I noticed is he doesn't really kill too many people in this movie.
No, he doesn't.
He kills the guy at the beginning, and he kills the henchman at the end. But he does a lot of knocking out and not nearly as much killing as I remembered.
Right. And that also could be because of License to Kill.
Yeah.
Which
he
is
does a lot more killing.
Completely different movie. Yeah. This. So my take on Timothy Dalton is, first of all, for a guy who was in his mid-40s at the time of making these movies, he looks fantastic.
Wow, I would not.
46. His birthday is actually the day before mine.
I would have put him in mid-30s.
Yeah.
He looks phenomenal.
I think he's like 19. I'll pull up the actual birthday, but he was born in the 40s. 46. He was 41 years old when he made this movie.
Wow. He looks great.
Looks fantastic. I mean, he's still aged well today. If you've
yeah.
seen him in like Doom Patrol or what else was he in? He was in something else somewhat recently.
Yeah. But yeah, I know.
I mean, Toy Story 4. He's Penny Dreadful. So
Yeah.
he is solidly acting and not having to play off the Bond thing, which is nice. I mean, coming off of the Bond movies, he was in The Rocketeer. He was the villain in The Rocketeer, and he's fantastic in that.
Yeah.
And I had always said that I always thought that Clive Owen would make a really good James Bond. I feel like that time is now past.
Yeah.
When Clive Owen did The Nick, which is this fantastic medical drama on Cinemax, he had a mustache and he was like, looked so much like Timothy Dalton. It was like, oh man, we really missed out on Bond. I'm happy with what we got instead, but
yeah,
I feel like because he looked a little more youthful, it was a little more believable. I mean, the women were still 15 years younger than him, but because he looked a little younger, it wasn't nearly as creepy.
Yeah, Roger Moore romancing Tanya Roberts. Oh. That was creepy. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry. It's just, so, I mean, the action scenes worked well with one exception. Well, one exception. This was a complaint I had throughout this movie. There's a lot of rear projection.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think Dalton did his own stunts, which is fine. Most actors of that time won't, and I'm fairly certain that they're not letting Bond. You're dyed in the mold.
Yeah.
Here, we're not going to let you do your own stunts, which is fine. But a lot of the rear projection, a lot of the car chases and stuff, the airplane was all very obviously a blue screen.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, the real only action sequences that really kind of like okay were in the third act. For me, the first two acts are where the strengths of this movie lie. The third act is where things start to unravel a bit, and it's like, okay. Yeah. And plus, it starts getting a little bit uncomfortable when he starts helping the Taliban.
Yeah. This movie is like, it's tough to say that this is a grounded Bond film because I feel like it starts off grounded. One thing that kind of drove me a little nuts was, and I mean, it's just been kind of like the filmmaking ideals of the time. They didn't build up that reveal like they could have. I felt like they were teasing us with this huge reveal that it's a new Bond. And he just like, it's like, oh, there he is. All right, never mind. Not even a swell of the music, just the theme. Just
three agents drop in. And by the way, they're doing a training exercise. They're trying to infiltrate this place in early to mid-afternoon. Not in the middle of the night when you think would be the best time.
Usually that's when Black Ops missions happen, don't they?
Yeah, they're wearing completely black suits, which makes them stand out way more in the daylight.
Yeah. I feel like the big thing with this movie was they definitely played up what was becoming to be the end of the Cold War.
Yeah.
We are shifting away from that. By the time the camera started rolling, Gorbachev was already the Russian premier, and things were changing. Things were in the so it was like this last gasp that would finally be breathed in GoldenEye.
Yeah, and I mean, like they they even brought in that the Soviet general who'd been in like a kind of a side character in every single Moore movie, or at least the last like 5 of them or so.
Yeah. But I feel like
he just shows up at the end for a cameo appearance.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's just like bringing in Desmond Llewellyn, right?
Yeah. I always like seeing Desmond Llewellyn.
And you know what the thing is too is that between Moore and Dalton, they really lobbied to get him more screen time.
Yeah.
And I feel like Dalton was effectively able to get him better quality screen time. I feel like Moore got him screen time, but it was like not as great.
Yeah, it was like, hey, bring him in. He can do a funny punchline there. It's like, he's attempting re-entry.
Right. Well, that's the thing too. It was refreshing to have a movie where it didn't end with with someone flicking on a camera and there's Bond, just like
Banging
Walther
the lady.
PK7 deep into somebody. Um.
Still,
All
the
right.
ghetto blaster.
Oh my God, that was so painful. That was like, oh, that hurts. It
Yeah,
would have hurt me back then too.
yeah.
I will say also, it should be a crime to make a smoke show like that in Moneypenny.
Yeah.
Wow. 80, I mean, yeah. This was 80s nerdy girl,
Yeah.
but whew,
Yeah.
man.
It's like,
She was
well,
a year. Yeah,
they had to retire Lois Maxwell, so they had to go with someone else.
exactly. And the thing is that she is a year younger than Miriam Dabo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Marion Dabo looked much younger.
Yeah, she did. Well, I think she's part of the famous Dabo family who her sister was on the Wonder Years and her dad was, oh God, what's the name of the band? Oh, the 60s band Manfred Mann and his Earth band.
Are they in relation to Olivia Dabo?
Yeah, I think so. I'm fairly certain. Otherwise, it's just a cosmic coincidence. But she also did. Miriam Dabo did a documentary about 10 years ago, just going back and revisiting all the other Bond girls.
Oh,
and it was a really well-made documentary. It was on Netflix. Like, again, we're going back like 10 years.
Oh yeah, she is the first cousin once removed of Olivia Dabo.
Oh, okay. So technically speaking,
yeah.
Okay. I didn't mind her. She was.
No.
So here's the thing with the character of Kara. She wasn't an idiot.
No.
But her facial expressions made her look like an idiot. This, cat by a bird on a bird feeder look that she has throughout the movie got a little.
Yeah. I guess the best you could say is she was effective in the roles that she was given.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is also she is the sole Bond girl in this movie.
Yeah.
There really is not another woman in this movie.
There is one other woman that I take notice of, mainly because it's a Farscape reference.
Oh, yes.
The general's mistress, who you get actually a nice side boob of, that she is played by Virginia Hay.
Okay.
Who went on to play Pao Zhao Zan on Farscape, one of the main characters for like the first 3 seasons, I want to say.
Interesting. I believe also this is the speaking of nudity, this is the first movie where you actually get like full rare male nudity in a Bond movie when they knock over the Russian shower tent.
Oh yeah.
Like, 87, it's a PG-13, you might as well use it.
Yeah.
Actually, I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is PG, I think. I think this is the last of the PG Bond movies. Yeah, it's PG.
Wow.
The last one before they switched to the PG-13.
So you get both male ass and side boob in a PG movie.
There you go. Back in the old days, kind of like when they used to be able to do, get like 3 shot, full frontal shots and a PG movie in the 70s.
Oh yeah,
an airplane. Logan's Run.
Airplane, you got the boobs right there.
Yep. Logan's Run, Clash of the Titans. So here's the thing with this movie. I genuinely did enjoy this movie. I don't feel like either of the Dalton movies deserve the scorn that they get. I honestly think it's a knee-jerk reaction. What this movie is so bad at, though, are the villains.
Yes.
This is the worst crop of Bond villains that I can I'm trying to go back. I mean, at least since Moonraker,
Yeah.
in terms of just overall everything.
Yeah.
We've got you got Joran Krabe, who is the poor man's Jurgen Prochnow. You movie nerds will get that one.
I only knew him from the Fugitive.
Okay, and well, Jurgen Prochnow was Duke Leto Atreides in the '84 Dune. He was also in Das Boot, which is an excellent movie, and I highly recommend that you watch it at some point. He's just so annoying.
Yeah. I mean, they do play his twist. I think they played it pretty decently. I mean,
yeah, they played it up really nicely and let that ride for a while.
Yeah, you really didn't know for certain. I mean, until I would say the start of the second act. You know, the first act, you're pretty much all on his side.
Yeah.
And the villain at that point is a young John Rhys Davies.
And that's funny. You thought you had no idea it was John Rhys Davies.
Oh no, I knew it was.
It sounds a lot like John Rhys Davies. I'm like, it is John Rhys Davies.
I knew it was. I was kidding. I was.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like John Rhys Davies as a Russian general. Sure.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
No, he was fantastic. But hey, we can't forget the highlight of this movie.
The one character that completely grinds the movie to a complete and undignified halt.
God, Joe Don Baker is he Colonel Whitaker or is he General Whitaker?
He's just Whitaker, I think. I don't.
It just shows his Whitaker on his on the credit for the movie. What? Yeah. Oh my God! First of all, it's Joe Don Baker.
Yeah.
And anytime after 1993, right? Anytime after 1993, we only see him as Mitchell.
Oh yeah, when the episode aired, yes.
Yeah, it was 93 when the episode aired.
That was my very first MST3K episode too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had known him before. I think the only thing I'd seen him in before was Cape Fear. He had a small part in that. And then I watched Walking Tall, which is the movie that was like his big.
Yeah, that's the only movie anybody knows him from outside of Mitchell. And that's only for MST3K fans.
Right, exactly. And I mean, Walking Tall is just like Dad's movie, you know. But
Joe Don Baker's not a good actor.
He's unbelievable in the role.
Yeah.
He's just like, there's that scene at the very beginning where they've got all the all the wax figurines of all these great military leaders, and he's just standing there, and it's like, please don't even make me think that that's not real. As he's like breathing heavily.
I mean, to be fair though, you say he's unbelievable in the role. I would counter that. He plays great as a guy who dresses up to play with his action figures. I completely 100% buy him in that role.
God, I felt so sick to my stomach watching him eat crab. Because it was just like, I mean, in most Bond movies, most people eat with a fork and a knife.
No, not Joe Don Baker.
I'm so hungry. I only had 2 steaks for dinner. Didn't get to finish my orange. Big buttery moon up there. Sidewalk kind of looks like ice cream if you squint hard enough.
Yeah. I love
I think I found some rice. No, it's not.
Oh, sorry. I love Mitchell so much.
I know.
But seriously, the entire the scenes earlier with him are bad. That final fight with him, it is such a silly, stupid scene. It has completely shifts the tone of the entire movie.
Well, here's the thing also, and this has been a complaint pretty much throughout. Bond movies don't know when to end.
Yeah.
It's that thing where I might be enjoying the movie and I'm going to flick the mouse over to see how much time is left. I'm like, 45 minutes!
Yeah.
There was damn near an hour left when we're finally introduced to Art Malik's character. you know, the Taliban, who Bond is helping. I'm sorry, no, it's the Mujahideen. Sorry.
I mean,
who knew?
You know, in their defense, though, at least Art Malik is Pakistani, so they're in the ballpark. It's not as if he's a French actor playing an Afghan prince.
That's very true. That's very true. Art Malik, I mean, I feel bad for Art Malik because almost every role he's ever played has been terrorist. So, I mean, look no further than True Lies if you really want to just see him going, this is for the paycheck. This is for the paycheck.
Yeah. I mean, I liked him, but
he was fine. It's just...
it's problematic.
It's not only is it problematic, but it also introduces elements to a movie so late in the movie that why are you doing this?
Yeah.
And this is something that you haven't gotten there yet. You'll kind of see it in License to Kill as well. They introduce too many new elements well past that 1 hour mark.
Oh yeah.
And it's just it's difficult to watch.
Yeah, you don't want to introduce an entirely new faction in the third act.
Right.
That's when you're supposed to be wrapping things up, not expanding the story more.
Right. But yeah, those weapons that he was using, especially like the gun with the face shield, it's like Bond's blasting away. And it's almost like I want to just like stop the movie, take whoever's in charge and go, you know that even with that faceplate would be pushed into his face.
Yeah.
Because they're being hit by bullets.
Yeah.
Bullets don't immediately just like stop when they hit something. They continue to move.
Yeah. And the remote control that does everything. Controls every drawer in the entire building. And it controls the little toy cannoneer. What the fuck?
Well, the other thing too is I love that he dies in like such an unceremonious way.
Yeah.
He just like falls backwards on glass.
A statue like a bust falls on him and it pushes him onto glass.
That is henchman. That is henchman level death.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Euro trashy assassin with his British New Wave and his slick back German hair, at least he died a Bond death.
Yeah.
Bond cuts his own shoelaces off and the guy falls to his death.
Yep.
From an airplane. Bravo, sir. Bravo.
He got the boot.
No worse than anything that Roger Moore said in Octopussy. No worse.
And you know what? Maybe it's something about like the way Roger Moore delivers it. I bought it more out of Timothy Dalton.
Oh yeah, yeah. Dalton has more conviction in terrible lines.
Yeah. Moore is like, he got the boot.
Lady.
Got the boot.
Yeah. So, all right. So the only other thing I think we have left to discuss here is the theme song.
Yeah, it's
from
It's in my top 5, possibly in my top 3.
Okay. Yeah, we are prepping our Bond music show. And so I started listening to it today at my son's soccer practice. And yeah, it's the thing is that what I feel like it doesn't do well at lyrically, it brings enough energy to really get you hyped for the movie you're going to see. It does its job in the way that like the song "A View to a Kill" did its job.
Yeah, it's weird. Like you got so many like really really lousy themes for Moore, and then you get "A View to a Kill," and it is amazing. And then you get "The Living Daylights," and it is amazing.
Yeah.
And then you get "License to Kill."
Yep. You listened to it, didn't you?
I watched the movie.
Well, that's right. That's right. We'll discuss that next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was here. The funny thing is, first of all, I'm watching it, and with the credit sequence, there are these hard percussion drops that Morris Bender, who did the credit sequence, completely missed the cues because it's like bang, and then the gun would go off with the smoke. It's like, no! Do you have any idea that this was like, you could have done this where bang, bang, both at the same time. You could have, what is wrong with you? This movie is also the decision to utilize Aha is the reason why John Barry didn't do a single Bond movie after this.
Really?
He had so much difficulty working with Aha because what happens is that you take that theme and you have to weave it into your score somehow.
Yeah.
And Barry had the hardest time with it because, technically speaking, they also are kind of writing the song, the theme a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was really hard. They were not easy to work with because they have they're huge in Norway.
Yeah.
So it's one hit here, two if you're being generous, and but they had enough pull to do this, and Barry's just like, I can't do this anymore. And I just have a feeling it might have been writing was on the wall for him, and just like, if we're going to continue doing these types of groups doing the theme, I can't keep up anymore.
Yeah.
I'm very curious, actually, when did John Barry die? Because I don't think he lasted much longer.
That is one thing that I'm also going to bring up when we do our Bond theme song episode, is how well does the Bond theme song work on its own, but also how well is the song integrated into the movie?
No, that's a good point.
Some of them not so well.
Yeah, John Barry died in 2011, actually. So
wow, good for him.
But yeah, I mean, the song itself, I mean, it was really good. I really thought it brought a lot of energy. But yeah, it is what John Barry was just like, I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd also been doing it since since '63, so
true. I mean, but he didn't do all the Bond movies either, which is the interesting thing.
Oh.
No, because Marvin Hamlish did Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah. That was such a bad song.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. You gotta save this conversation for the podcast. So.
I know. It's fresh in the mind.
Yeah. Anyway, final thoughts on The Living Daylights.
First two acts, solidly good.
Mm-hmm.
Third act, it kind of falls apart a bit. But
right. Yeah. I know I said this on Twitter, but as good as Dalton was, you can't convince me otherwise that if he had done a third movie, there wouldn't have been an invisible car in it. I
don't know. Just going with what I've watched from License to Kill, it is much more grounded.
It would have been released in 91, 92. So we got to also consider again, we'll talk about that next week, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But, overall, I think the verdict is I still like License to Kill a little better, but they are very neck and neck. There are things I like about both movies. There are things I don't like about both movies. This was perfectly fine, and quite honestly, it's better than most of the Roger Moore stuff, and even some of the Connery stuff.
Yeah, and even some of the Brosnan stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, Pierce Brosnan, where he got so high and so low.
What's that sharp decline? So, anyway, I don't know. You have any other thoughts on The Living Daylights before we wrap this up?
Nah, I'm good.
All right. Well, we want to hear it from you then. Let us know in the comments below. What do you think about The Living Daylights? Where does this rank in your Bond movies? Do you like this better than License to Kill? Do you like License to Kill better than The Living Daylights? Do you wish we had a third Dalton movie? Who knows? So leave that polite comment below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. We do this every week. Next week we will be covering Dalton. Dalton returns in License to Kill. And so do that. You can also check out our full archive. We have a playlist of all of our Bond reviews as well as all the other movie reviews we've done. Also, Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check that out wherever you get your podcast, which is Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, you name it, we're there. Check all of our episodes out there. You want to follow us on social media? We are available on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio and on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. And check out RT Public Store, which is keyword Geek Salad Podcast. So, anyway, James Bond will return in License to Kill next week. So,
or License to Ill.
License to Ill. So, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. Talk to you later.